Right there. Hey friends, Evelyn here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you my few key secrets that I've discovered when making bread with a bread machine. Have you ever had those yummy, fluffy Japanese bread known as shokupan? Well, today's bread recipe will be something very similar to that. But let me first introduce to you my bread machine. This is a Zojirushi Breadmaker. It is a 2-pound bread pan. This bread machine is amazing. It makes all types of bread, from white bread to European style bread to sourdough. And most importantly, it actually makes fresh dough for me. And you can use this dough to make pizza or to make any bread recipe that you may have, and just couldn't be bothered because it was so laborious to make the dough. But now you have the machine, it's just going to be so easy. Let's focus on my 5 personal secrets that I found for making bread with a bread machine. So secret number 1, always try to use a scale to measure out all your ingredients. I find this gives you the most consistent result when you make bread or any recipe that involves baking and measuring out ingredients. So if you can do that, it will definitely give you consistent results. Secret number 2, I always add water to the pan first. The reason is the water will help you distribute out your ingredients evenly and uniformly so that you have an evenly made bread. Secret number 3, I always add sugar and salt or whatever seasoning you're adding to your recipe into the water first. I find that the water helps dissolve the sugar and the salt, and it helps distribute the ingredients evenly throughout the bread dough. So you'll get parts of the bread that's a little bit more salty or a little more sweet. In the water it goes, and it's all even. So after you add your water, your sugar, and your salt, then you would add your flour. So one more personal secret I have with this is always make a divot in the center of your pan, and that is where you will put your yeast. And the reason is you want to isolate your yeast so that it doesn't activate prematurely with the other ingredients. So by giving it a little space of its own, it helps keep it stable and also doesn't affect the rise of your bread. Secret number 4, once the ingredients have been processed and the bread machine is getting to the rising stage of the dough, I like to take it out towards the end, maybe like 90 minutes before it starts to bake. And I'd like to actually remove the paddles in the pan so that it doesn't impact the way the bread bakes. If you leave the paddles in, when your bread is finished, you'll have these big holes in the bottom of the loaf, which is fine because, you know, this is for home use. But then it also makes it harder to take out of the pan. So if you're home and you can do this, I highly recommend it. Just so remove the paddles from the dough, and then you can further shape the dough so that it rises evenly in the pan. All right, secret number 5 is try to take out your bread as soon as it's baked. Normally the machine will make a beeping sound. Sometimes I don't hear it. Maybe I'm busy, you know, editing or listening to music. So maybe set a timer to remind yourself that you need to go take out your bread at this time. Because if you leave it in the pan for too long in the warming mode, I find it tends to dry out the bread a bit. So try to take it out as soon as you can and let it cool on a cooling rack. And once it comes to room temperature, you're ready to dig in. So one of the reasons why I decided to get this bread machine was because, you know, I found that the prices of bread in the supermarket or in the bakery, especially for the shokupan Japanese style bread, was really expensive. For maybe a 5 or 6 slices, I would have to pay in the range of $6 to $7. And they were eaten up so quickly. So I thought, you know what, I might as well just make my own. But I just didn't have the energy to make it from scratch and letting it proof and rise and kneading. And the machine was just the most convenient way to have homemade bread. And also it's great because then you don't have to deal with the preservatives or whatever chemicals they put in those store-bought breads to keep it fresh and extend its shelf life. And if you make extra bread and you can't finish, then you can always slice them up. And I have this great gadget here. I highly recommend you getting this slicer, and you can cut up your bread into sandwich slices, and no matter, you know, into the different thickness, and then freeze them in your freezer and let them thaw, and then they're like fresh bread again. Anyway, so I hope this step-by-step tutorial helped give you some idea of what things you can do to ensure that you get that perfect bread loaf. So I have the recipe of the bread in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. And please also leave me a comment whether you have a bread machine, what kind of breads you like to use, or what problems you've encountered. I'd love to hear from you, and let's share some ideas. And if you'd like to know more about the products that were used in this video, I'll have them linked in the description below as well. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!